He is a 9-year-old trapped in an adult body. He is a man-child. He loves to talk nerdy, and he is your host, Steve Tooley.
Hey guys, Steve here, and welcome to this episode of Nerdy News. Now, this is a weekly podcast aired every Thursday on my YouTube channel, my Geek YouTube channel, and this is where we talk about everything comic book, superhero, and geek related. So, a few things we're going to get into this week is we're going to talk about America's biggest comic book store, and if some of you don't know what that is, and I'd be surprised if you didn't, but if you don't, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We're also going to be talking about a Walking Dead spinoff, and this is actually, The Walking Dead is huge, so this is highly talked about on news channels and different things like that, but there's going to be an LA-based Walking Dead, so anyway, and then we're going to do a top, or not a top 10, but a kind of a countdown of 10 actors who were almost placed in superhero roles as a superhero in superhero movies. Almost. Pretty interesting. Some of these are pretty interesting, pretty funny. So let's get into it. Okay, Midtown Comics, New York-based comic store. I'm thinking it's the biggest comic store in America. It's huge. They actually had a show called Comic Book Hero, or Comic Store Heroes. Not a show, but like a documentary, and it followed like the staff of Midtown Comics as they're preparing for New York Comic Con. And they had customers, coming into the store, and they're kind of, the setting was the comic book store, and as they're preparing for New York Comic Con, and I've watched this. You can watch it on Netflix, and it was pretty cool. But it's Midtown Comics, New York-based comic book store, biggest comic book store in America, and they had a visitor, which doesn't surprise me because they're so well known. But they had a celebrity come into the store, and George Lucas came into the store, and an unnamed Midtown employee said that Lucas said he hadn't read any of the new Star Wars comics, and the writer-director left the store with the debut issues of Star Wars Darth Vader and Princess Leia that Marvel created, as well as a heavy metal issue, which... it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So George Lucas came in and bought some Star Wars stuff. I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, some people thought it might be strange that Lucas came to visit a comic book store, but he's had a long association with comics, and he was a co-owner in a local comic store's comic art gallery in the 70s, and former Marvel editor-in-chief Jim Shooter stated that George Lucas personally came to Marvel before the debut of Star Wars to pitch the movie as a licensed comic series. So he's a comic fan. He's not only an amazing director and writer, he's a comic fan. So that's cool. That's cool. So George Lucas went into the comic store, picked up some Star Wars stuff, a heavy metal issue, which heavy metal is pretty cool magazine, and some Star Wars stuff, and that's cool. And imagine the Midtown Comic employee. I mean, here walks in George Lucas. He's probably looking at him like, is that George Lucas? Like, I mean, should I find out? Like, I mean, what do you do? Like, and you would be a little starstruck, and I'm sure he was, and I'm sure he got some pictures taken with him, and maybe got him to sign an issue of Star Wars for him. Who knows? Which I'm sure that would be pretty sweet. But anyway, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool that George Lucas is a comic book guy. He's into that whole comic thing, and he went into Midtown Comics and got some Star Wars stuff, And so that's pretty awesome. So now moving on to this this Walking Dead spinoff. Now reports say that it has been ordered for 2 seasons. It has yet to be titled, so it's untitled, but it is a Walking Dead spin-off series, and it's based on the recently completed pilot episode. Here, I'm reading this off the net, and while ordering 2 seasons at once might seem unprecedented, the first season will only consist of 6 one-hour-long episodes. Wow. So, and this is LA-based. I'm going to read some more of this. It says, "We take incredibly serious the notion of building a satisfying companion series to the #1 show on television." No doubt about that. "And from the beginning of The Walking Dead on AMC, we've been asked questions about what's going on in other parts of the zombie apocalypse and what it looks like as the world really did turn. Through this new series, we're going to find out," said Charlie Collier, AMC president, and Robert Kirkman. "Dave Erickson and their writing team, along with the incomparable set of producers, cast, and crew, have created something remarkable and clearly distinct. We respectfully follow the request of Monty Python as we bring out the last of our dead." And the new Walking Dead companion series is set in Los Angeles, and it features new characters unaffiliated with the original series, and it's scheduled to debut in late summer, so fairly soon. I mean, we're flowing into spring and into late summer. We're going to have a Walking Dead spinoff, and I'm not sure how well people will take this. I mean, there's some die-hard Walking Dead fans. I mean, people might be on board with this whole thing and love the thought of it. I mean, I think it's kind of cool. Why not? Why not? I mean, I'm easy to get along with. So you want a Walking Dead spin-off? Do it. More zombie stuff? That's cool with me. I'm cool with zombie stuff and apocalypse and and all that survival. I like it. So coming out late summer, with a second season coming in 2006. So the first season is only 6 one-hour-long episodes. So it's probably going to last a month, if that, depending on a little. Maybe if they do an hour episode a week, we'll get about a month and a half of this new Walking Dead spin-off, and then we're done, and then we're held wondering what's going on for until 2016. So we got about a half a year or longer, depending on when it comes out in 2016, of just being left standing there waiting to see what happens, but whatever. I think it's cool. The Walking Dead is huge. Everybody watches it. I mean, most everybody watches it. Most people are really into the whole apocalypse survival stuff, and this is going to be LA based, which is kind of funny. I mean, it's LA. What are you going to have, breast augmented zombies and I mean, zombies with big lips, botoxed up zombies with reconstructive surgery. So they're not even going to look like zombies. They're going to look like a person, because the reconstructive surgery will keep their fake flesh. They're so fake their flesh won't rot off. It's like we've got LA-based zombies, and it's just going to be like just a regular show, and people, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just funny to me, when I think of LA-based zombies and these, it's LA, so. I mean, there is a stereotype there with, I mean, come on. Anyway, yeah, you're gonna have zombies with big boobs and big lips, and their flesh isn't falling off because it's not real, because they've had so much surgery and so much plastic surgery done. They're pretty much plastic. So if they're plastic, they can't rot, right? I don't know. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with an LA-based zombie series. we'll see what happens with that. I'm laughing at it now, and I thought it was a good idea a second ago. Anyway, so let's move on to 10 actors who are almost superheroes. Now, they're not. They didn't make it. So, some of these are kind of funny. I'm looking at them right now. Usually when movie studios are preparing to make a film or a superhero movie, a lot of times the hardest part is finding someone to fit the role. I mean, think about it. You got to find someone to fit the role of Superman, like a superhero character. Has a distinctive look. I mean, compared to the comic books over the last, who knows how many. I mean, Batman's 75 years old now, so we're talking based on comic books. These actors got to fit this role, and I know there's costumes and makeup and things like that, but still, there is a distinctive look for like Superman. He's got a distinctive face, and someone's got to kind of come close to looking like Superman and making that believable. Now, the masked ones like Spider-Man and things like that, of course, the Incredible Hulk is all CGI, it's not even real. But Superman, for sure, would be hard to find the right person for that role. To find the right... Now in 78, Batman movie, or Superman movie came out. And in my opinion, and I wasn't very old, 78, I was 6. I do remember the Superman movies back then. I remember watching them, and I remember loving them. And I remember, and I'll always have in my mind when I think of Superman movies, Christopher Reeves. And anybody at my age... Yeah, anybody at my age will have Christopher Reeves as the image of Superman in their head, because he played that role and he played it well, and he made a very, very good Superman. But a lot of times Hollywood, when they're casting these actors, they're trying to cast someone who hasn't done a whole lot or been seen a whole lot in movies and things like that, because they wanted to they don't want you to associate this character with a character they previously played. Now, I know there's been some big-time actors that have played Batman and things like that, but they're looking for, looking for the right A-list actor, if you know what I'm saying. So speaking of Superman, this really strikes me as okay, 1978 Superman film. Now, we already talked about this. Christopher Reeves made that. I mean, that he was Superman, and he was a great one. But they were going to possibly cast Christopher Walken as Superman. I mean, isn't he a little puny to be a Superman? Like, Superman's got some muscle tone, and Christopher Walken's isn't he a little puny to be? I don't know. I can't imagine. I mean, just imagine if he got the role, and Christopher Walken would have been the Superman that I would have to have that image in my head of that would be Superman all the way up until for my whole life. My whole life, he would have been the image of Superman for me. I would not be a comic collector today. I would not be an action figure collector today. That might have disturbed me enough that I would have just steered clear from all of that, comic collecting and superheroes, and I don't know, took up dressmaking or something. I can't imagine. If you don't know who Christopher Walken is, you're going to have to Google him. And Google a young Christopher Walken. Now, 1978 Christopher Walken. Superman? No. Trust me. No. So anyway, that's funny to me. Anyway, Bridget Nielsen. Now, a lot of you, you got to be kind of old like me to remember some of these, I guess not, but to remember some of these actors and actresses. Now, Bridget Nielsen played in Rocky IV and Red Sonja. And she was going to... was going to be in the role. Now, in the 90s, there was going to be a She-Hulk movie. Now, there was going to be a She-Hulk movie. And and Bridget Nielsen was going to play the role of She-Hulk, and they went as far as getting her all dolled up in a whole She-Hulk get-up and making her green and promoting this thing, but the movie never happened. So Marvel apparently failed to come up with the money to finance the movie, and it didn't happen. So, I mean, She-Hulk would have been I think it would have been a cool flick. And Bridget Nielsen, I mean, yeah, she would have made a decent She-Hulk. You know, I mean, if you don't know who she is, Google her. I mean, again, you'll see. I mean, that's not odd compared to Christopher Walken as Superman. That's odd. I mean, who? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So we're going to move on to. Okay, so the next one isn't so strange. Adam Brody, he was deemed the king of all teen drama, and he was going to play the part of the Flash in a Justice League, a 2007 Justice League film, which the film died out, and it wasn't. It didn't happen. It was supposed to have a budget of $220 million, and but there was it was going to be produced in Australia, but there was a cost delays and things like that in pre-production that they ended up canceling this Justice League movie, and Adam Brody's chances of being the Flash in the Justice League. So he was going to play the Flash, and I mean, he would have made a good Flash in the Justice League, yeah. So that, I mean, the movie didn't happen again. Same as She-Hulk, just didn't happen. This 2007 Justice League movie did not happen. So there you have that. Adam Brody. That's not so strange either. Alrighty, so next on the list you had Armie Hammer as Batman, and he was going to be. I think he was going to be Batman in the Justice League movie as well. But here's what it says. It says, years before the Social Network and the Lone Ranger, Armie Hammer was already being groomed as a top star as Batman in George Miller's Justice League. The actor who before had one major role as Reverend Billy Graham in an indie biopic titled Billy was considered a surprise choice, especially in light of the dramatically different Batman who was being played by Christopher Bale in the solo Dark Knight trilogy. Upon his announcement, Hammer was well aware of Bale's long shadow. Hammer, while only 22 at the time, measured in at an imposing 6'5" and had already undergone fittings for the Batman suit. And he says, I was looking down and I was thinking this is the best. Then I stood up and they turned me around and I faced a mirror. There was Batman. But then it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's not just Batman, it's me. Hammer underwent several months of physical training, including gun work and preparation for his Justice League film, only for it to stall out due to the writer's strike and the success of The Dark Knight. So I think he would have made a decent Batman. Didn't happen again, but yeah, I mean, he would have, Google Armie Hammer, you'll see. I mean, he would have made an okay Batman. Now, Emily Blunt is Black Widow. Now, Scarlett Johansson has definitely won over the world with her Black Widow in Avengers and the other Marvel movies. So it's probably it's tough that she wasn't Marvel's original choice. She plays the part so well. But Emily Blunt was on the cast list for playing the part of Black Widow. says in January 2009, word broke that the Black Widow role was being primed for actress Emily Blunt. At the time, Blunt had just completed filming The Wolfman, directed by Captain America: The First Avengers' Joe Johnston, and had previously done well in ensemble films like The Devil Wears Prada and Charlie Wilson's War. Marvel reportedly offered the English actress the part as Black Widow after a successful screen test, but Blunt couldn't take the role due to a contract with Fox for another film, which ended up being Gulliver's Travel. It was only then that Marvel went to Johansson, who had also screen tested as Black Widow, obtained the role. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine though? Like, Scarlett Johansson makes a great Black Widow, and it is hard to imagine a different person playing the role. But it could have been Emily Blunt, which she would probably done a fantastic job too. But anyway, all right. So Common, he's a hip hop star, rapper. Was casted for the Green Lantern, and it says here, and he's played other roles, but it says here when Common's casting as Green Lantern was announced, fans were genuinely excited, more so for the fact that it was the Jon Stewart Green Lantern they'd be seeing, but also for Common and his short film Resume to Date. Originally, the plan was for Common to play Green Lantern in Justice League, then have a major role in the then forthcoming Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. But when the 2008 Justice League production tanked, so did Common's chance to be Jon Stewart's. But after being fitted for the Green Lantern costume and undergoing rigorous physical training alongside his co-star, the 2007 writer's strike put the Justice League movie on hold once again. Then it changed things from happening. So he would have made a killer Green Lantern. He would have made a killer Jon Stewart Green Lantern. Yes, he would have. And I have to say, Ryan Reynolds made an amazing Green Lantern as well. So there you have that. Okay, so if any of you ever watched The Office, John Krasinski is in The Office. It's a great show. John Krasinski starred in that show, and he was being casted for the role of Captain America, which that's I really have a hard time picturing that, but Chris Evans was the original cast for that. And he had backed out numerous times and then reconsidered and came back. And he beat out John Krasinski for the role. But yeah, that's I don't know. I don't see him as Captain America at all. So not at all. So anyway, kind of a weird one there too. So number 3. As we're counting down, now this one might have. I mean, you kind of get a superhero who has been casted as a superhero in your head, and it's hard to get that vision of that person as that superhero out of your head. So if they was to replace that actor with another actor to play the same superhero, it would throw me off a little bit, and it's been done, but this might have worked. Now everybody knows Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and he makes an incredible Wolverine, no doubt about it. He plays the part, looks, build, and he plays the part well. He makes a fantastic Wolverine. But Russell Crowe was casted well, and in The Man of Steel he played Superman's father, but and he looked a lot different than he did in that Gladiator. Anyway, but he was going to be casted as as Wolverine, which I think that probably could have happened. That could have happened and worked very well if he would have played the part, not Hugh Jackman. Now I have Hugh Jackman in my head as the Wolverine and he does it very well. But I think Russell Crowe could have easily have pulled that off and probably played the Wolverine very well. But yeah, I mean, the Gladiator, Russell Crowe, not the old. He looked very old in the Man of Steel. He looked very old. The Gladiator, Russell Crowe, would have made a great Wolverine. So yeah. So that's hit number 2. Number 2. What? I don't know about this one either. I don't know, because originally, okay, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Originally, if you would have told me Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Iron Man, I probably wouldn't have really seen that. I don't know. Now, when you think Tony Stark, I kind of do see. I do see Robert Downey Jr. But Tom Cruise was going to be casted for the role of Iron Man. I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm really glad that didn't happen. Robert Downey Jr. pulls it off, and because again, when you're comparing these actors to actors in the comic books, when you're doing the comparison of Tony Stark, and you look at Robert Downey Jr. Now, naturally, he probably is a little short, but anyway, if he's got the look, his face wise, the little beard, little goatee, mustache thing going on, he looks like Tony Stark. So, but Tom Cruise, nah. I can't picture that. I can't picture him as Iron Man. But then again, can Tom Cruise even grow face hair? I guess he has in some of his roles. I don't know. You always see him all clean cut and like baby faced, and that's not Tony Stark. So I guess maybe Tom Cruise. They could have given him fake face hair, and he might have been able to pull it off. I don't know. I just don't picture him as Tony Stark. He's too much of a pretty boy, and I know Tony Stark's kind of a pretty boy, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I just don't know. We're moving on. Oh, what? Now, this one, absolutely not. He does not. Okay, so moving on to number 1. And this throws me a little bit. We're going back to Superman. Now, like I said, I have Christopher Reeves in my mind as Superman, but also the man, Henry Cavill. Is that his name? Cavill? Something like that. Henry Cavill. Anyway, he made a great Superman too, but originally for the role of Superman was Nicolas Cage. And no way. No, maybe in his younger years, and this is probably was going to be casted for back when, but Nicolas Cage, man, I don't know. He don't have the face of Superman at all, not at all. Think of that one show he played in, and I can't remember the name of it now, but he had the curly hair and he was kind of fat. He was getting kind of fat. Think of that. That's not Superman. You know what I'm saying? And I know he's playing a role, but he don't have the face of Superman. No, he doesn't. And I don't care if you think he does, because he don't. I'm telling you right now, he absolutely does not. So you got to listen to me, because this is my podcast, and you can't argue with me. But he did play some cool roles. He played the role of a superhero-esque type of character, which he played Ghost Rider, and he did Ghost Rider all right. But he didn't have to look like Ghost Rider, because CGI effects made him, have a flaming skull head. So, and I know, he had to pull it off, and he did. He did all right. Ghost Rider was okay. Wasn't great, but it was okay. So, but Superman, and I do not see Nicolas Cage as Superman. And And they just need to get that thought out of their head, because that's ridiculous. And I don't even think that they would even consider him for the role now. I mean, he is getting kind of old. But, Nicolas Cage was a huge comic collector. He had loads of comics, and from what I gather, he auctioned them off or something to get out of debt. But he had some stuff, man. He had some comics. Like, he had some good stuff. But Superman, no. He did okay with Ghost Rider. He could probably play the role of, I don't know. Definitely not Superman. But anyway, that was number 1 on the list. That was our countdown. 10 actors who were almost cast as superheroes. A lot of them was because production just didn't happen. Some of them were beat out by other actors. A lot of that is, thank goodness they were beat out by other actors, because Christopher Walken's, I mean, I'm not going to be the same. I mean, I do not want to picture a puny Christopher Walken's in tights and a cape, and that's a terrible thought. Not that I, want to picture anybody in tights and a cape, and I know that's what superheroes wear, but you got to pull that off. You can't be puny and weird looking. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, guys, I mean okay. There you have nerdy news for this week, and I'm sticking with it. I'm just doing it. And if you don't like it, whatever. It's not like I've got so many subscribers that I got anything to worry about. If I lose 1 or 2, then I'm the only one listening. So, and that's okay, because I like to talk to myself, because, I agree with myself and I agree with my opinions, and that's fantastic. So me and myself, we get along great. We do not argue. We do not fight. We have the same interests. We love comic books. We love action figures, and we agree with ourselves. So if I'm the only person listening to my podcast, I'm okay with that. I mean, I would much like for other people to listen to it and give me their feedback and tell me what they think. But if you're not gonna, I'm fine with just me and myself chilling in here at the studio, listening to myself talk. It's all good. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me in this episode of Nerdy News for this week, Thursday, and it's up every Thursday, whether you like it or not. It's up every Thursday, and I'm going to keep going with it until I don't want to anymore, I guess. So anyway, thanks for stopping by this week's episode of Nerdy News, and we will see you next Thursday. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.